This must piss you off, and it's the fact that petrol stations are already hiking the prices because of the war in Iran. Have any of you been to the petrol pump this morning? Yeah, the prices have gone up 5-6p a litre. Now,
when everyone's queuing up to get fuel, here's me just casually putting £400 in it.
Are you serious?
So the price of crude oil is up around 10%, but what does this actually mean for the UK?
So it's rather disappointing to see local companies taking advantage of what's been happening in the Middle East.
This is a bad time to own a diesel or petrol car.
Hello. Right, I'm not one to moan, but I'm going to have a little moan now about the state of the UK. What the hell is going on with petrol prices?
They're going to hit you at the pumps when you go and fill up your car. They are going to hit gas pricing. That's going to make heating more expensive, ultimately. It doesn't get any more serious than this.
Listen, watch this and repost this. I think it's quite important. Now, heating oil, like they use for central heating, has literally gone from 55 to 60p to over £1 since last week. I know this because my brother's been getting quotes today because he's out of oil. Now, as you all know, there's been oil places getting blown up everywhere at the moment. Iran, I think, blew up one of their own ships. So please, take this good advice, get in your car, go to your garage and fill it up, because over the next few days I can see petrol and diesel going up very rapidly in price. I really can. And as you know, they all jump on the bandwagon anyway. Even if they got stock in, they say it's costing them more money. So please, if you follow me, please go fill your car up, because then hopefully I can actually save you some money and do something good. So please take my advice and go and fill your car up with fuel as soon as you can before it goes up in price. Thank you.
So let's have a little bit of a rant. Petrol prices. So all this petrol that they've got, that they're currently using, is already bought for before this stupidity of this crisis happened. So they always bulk buy, don't they? As they always say, we have to put our price up. Prices reflect what we bulk buy it in. So all this petrol, they've already got it in at the prices that they've paid for, haven't they? So all they're doing now is profiting, isn't it? So I was looking at, so last week I drove past a petrol station. I thought, well, I needed to fill it up anyway. I got it for 126, and same petrol station now is 134 within less than a week. That's what it's gone to already. So well done on profiting from the misery of whatever's going on now over in Iran. You don't need to do what you're doing. You don't need to profit from the people that still have to get their asses out to work and all the other stuff. So you're just like profiting on stuff that you've already paid for, isn't it? So you haven't run out of all that fuel that you've already bought, as you keep saying. And obviously with all the gas pricing that you've got, everything's just going to be going up now, isn't it? And yet we're an island, and yet we're not self-sufficient enough to get our own gas and fuel.
Welcome to Blighty Blighted, your daily reminder that in the United Kingdom, the price of petrol now seems to depend entirely on whatever argument is happening on the other side of the planet. Yes, petrol's going up again. Another conflict somewhere far away. And suddenly the numbers on the forecourt board start climbing like they've been given a ladder. Now I've lived through a proper world war. During World War II, fuel was rationed. Proper rationing, mind you. Coupons, limits, careful use. But there was a difference. Back then, the country knew why it was happening. Everyone understood the sacrifice. Today, it feels like the price rises arrive first. and the explanations wander in later.
It's an absolute piss take. They're putting the price up on fuel that they'd already have hold of and bought before all this broke out. There's a list of how much countries have supply-wise, and most of them have about a year's supply of oil and fuel before they even need to go and buy any more anyway. It's an absolute joke, taking advantage of the general public once again. Sums up the UK, and I'm sure it's happening in other countries, but yeah, absolute piss take. I've been seeing 140 odd in areas where it's usually about 130, 129. Absolute joke, man. But let me know if you've seen any higher than that. Let me know what fuel prices you're seeing and if it's been affected in your area yet. But I'm already seeing it for sure, 100%. And it just pisses you off because, once again, us, the general public, are just being punished, basically, for someone else's wrongdoing.
I know it's kicking off in the Middle East, but all the fuel at the moment is already in the tanks. My local garage, I fill up twice a week because I'm a taxi driver, and it was 130.9 per litre. Went past today, it's gone up to 136.9. That is 6p a litre. Why is the government allowing this? Is it the government? Is it the petrol companies? I just think at the moment they're ripping us UK people off. I understand there's stuff going on in the world, but that doesn't even affect us yet. That'll follow on in a couple of weeks. I think all these companies are just taking the mick out of us British people. It's absolutely shocking what's going on.
According to some reports out today, whilst the price of a crude barrel of oil is maybe in the upwards of 8-10% increase since things kicked off a week ago, some of these companies are price gouging local customers to the tune of 81% increase from what you were paying for your home heating oil a week ago.
But of course, we want companies to be responsible as well. There is no reason why that would be jumping up 50% or 100% up in price when the crude oil price is sitting around 8 or 10% of an increase. So of course, we need those companies to be responsible. And in the key context where if they don't, and if they are not responsible, then there is likely to be action that will be taken.
That's the Deputy First Minister outlining that they are prepared to look at this if it increases. Now, it might not just be your home heating oil too. You might feel a pinch at the pump coming up very soon as well. Now, the increases are typically up about 1% on the week. But again, I've had reports of some petrol stations lobbing on 10-15p extra a litre than it was a week ago. Typically, unleaded should be sitting at around 126 a litre. Diesel, 133 a litre. That's the Northern Ireland average at the moment. The Consumer Council have weighed in on this as well. They're going to be keeping an eye on things over the coming weeks. So if any local companies do feel like sticking the arm in and ripping off their customers during what's happening in the Middle East, they will soon be called out on it.
I was actually up in Scotland yesterday on a day's annual leave, and it was clear to see that the British RAF getting ready. There was typhoons doing low-flying exercises over Inverness Airport, which the people at airport saying they never normally see before. Obviously, as Britain, we've got best part of 300,000 people out there.
Remember when I said that UK involvement in this Iran war would cause further escalation? As you can see, we are sending one of our warships to the region. Now, this was always going to happen. As soon as Starmer gave the US the ability to bomb Iran from our bases, he got us involved. He put a target on our backs. And before making that decision to involve us in the war, he didn't even think to arm our bases. This Prime Minister is completely incompetent, and there will be British deaths on his hands because of the way he has handled this. We get nothing out of this war. We do not want to be involved. We don't even know if what Israel and the US are saying about Iran's nuclear capabilities are true. We have been shown no evidence of these nuclear capabilities that Iran have. If we were shown evidence, it will be a different story completely, but we haven't. Do you think we should be involved in this war? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Firstly, let's start with the obvious things. Fuel prices are going to be on the way up. It's very likely that inflation is going to increase. This also means that the energy bills are also probably going to be going up. The economy is likely to slow in growth. And I think generally speaking, this is all doom and gloom for businesses in general. Now, I know this is going to affect lots of countries around the world. It's not specifically just UK, but I can't help but feel like we have a really tough time in this country. Not only is inflation bad and the price of energy is far too high, but things like this certainly do not make it any nicer. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Now, my question is, you know when the global prices of things are really low and your bills aren't coming down and the price isn't coming down, the excuse is, oh, we have to buy wholesale amounts months in advance, so the price globally doesn't affect the price at the pumps. Well, if you use that same logic, surely you've bought enough petrol and diesel for the next few months at a certain price, but this conflict has immediately risen 5-6p a litre. So it goes up immediately, but it takes months to come down because you're buying fuel in advance. I don't know.
Well, it's finally happened. Oil prices are now skyrocketed in the UK, and they're causing now everyone to panic buy. So now if you go to a petrol station, you're gonna get an absolutely mad queue like this. This is an example that was taken in Leeds, this one specifically in Manchester, and this one as well within the Lancashire area. The stats are showing that we're not far away from the panic buy that happened in 2023, where the price is going now nearer towards the 150p mark. So depending on the area you live in, unleaded will be around the 132.86 mark, and diesel at 142. However, motorway prices are going to be completely more higher than that. The reason is quite simple as to why it's happening, and that's due to what's happening in the Middle East. As I mentioned in my previous video, all oil transportation links to the Strait of Hormuz, which is located on the Iran boundary. Due to the clash between all these countries, Israel, Iran, US, it's not a surprise that it was going to take a major hit into the oil prices. And specifically for the UK, as the cost of living crisis is already an absolute diabolical rate, you've now got the prices of oil increased. As the UK government are now part of this actual conflict. The only thing I can recommend for people to do right now is when you finally get to a petrol station, make sure you brought a container with you and fill that up as much as you possibly can, because we do not know how long this is going to continue on for. I'd also recommend sharing this video out to everyone so everyone is aware. What do you guys have to say about this current situation? Let me know what you guys think.
Humanity is cooked, ladies and gentlemen. Cooked. Stick a fork in me. So can you guys remember when I did this video here? And I said to everyone, hey everyone, listen, there's a start date for World War III. It's February the 8th, 2026. As per the Epstein files, literally behind me in this screenshot. This email was sent in 2018. Like, we need to discuss World War III. The investors want to know if we are still planning February the 8th, 2026. Like, maybe there's another email out there that just says, no, we're planning February 28th, 2026. Is anyone else connecting these dots? The Epstein files have gone silent. It looks like, listen, guys, you guys have been following me on the live streams. I've been documenting this stuff. I've been telling you guys exactly when this is coming. This jumped out on me, and this was the video that I just remembered that I did a while ago. Look, guys, we are heading for a brave new world, and I think you're going to have to be very brave to live in it. Listen, guys, I'm going to be on the live stream this every day, as I am, 10 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the evenings, sometimes in the day when I can. But listen, guys, we are cookedy-cooked, and we are swizzled-a-dizzled. That is from the Epstein files. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you guys think this was just a coincidence, or do you think there was something more sinister? And like I always say in my videos, ladies and gentlemen, okay, all the information is out there. You just need to know where to look. You need to know what to discard. You need to know what to hold, and you need to know what to fold.
If oil does stay high because of the US-Iran conflict, and I don't expect UK mortgage rates to be falling anytime soon. Obviously, higher oil means higher costs, and those higher costs mean higher inflation, which is exactly what the central banks are worried about, and they kind of result in interest rates staying high for longer. Obviously, right now, the UK housing market is relying pretty heavily on the idea that interest rates are going to be coming down. You know, the market isn't moving through growth or amazing sentiment at the moment. You know, it's very, very mortgage rate sensitive, especially here in London. So how do I think this is going to affect UK house prices and UK property? Well, I think the UK is already near the bottom of that cycle, to be honest. You know, volumes are weak. The sentiment isn't very good, sadly, at the moment. I think so much negativity is already baked into the market that you see now. So I don't see some big impact to house prices in the short term. Obviously, it's going to be a slower, flatter recovery in 2026, which is probably not what we wanted, but it's likely what we're going to have.
Can you believe that big queues have started to form at petrol stations across the UK as motorists panic buy petrol? Wow. Now look, in recent days, Nation has observed this massive unsettling shift towards motorist behaviour about their fuel buying. And basically now we've got huge queues across the country with people queuing for hours just to get petrol. It started off as a precaution. People were like, oh, just in case fuel goes up, just in case there's shortages, I better go and top up the tank. But now that has spread and it's looking like widespread fear is settling in. A surge in demand, largely driven by this war, is going to result in a supply shortage. Simple. It's going to put more pressure on the resources that we currently have, which is probably perfectly adequate to carry us for a month or two. And now everyone's panic buying. That's going to disrupt that normal distribution, use all our reserves, and then we are going to see a very quick spike of prices at the pumps. It's a self-fulfilling cycle. Do we not learn? It happened with toilet paper. Now we're seeing it again with petrol. A perceived increase in demand creates shortages because people go out, they buy more, and that in its own right means that there is less, which means that we have to pay more. And it's just this cycle. We're like little hamsters in a wheel, and we run the same cycle every time. We do not learn. Did you not learn it with toilet paper, guys? In the words of Dad's Army, don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Everything is going to be okay. If petrol supplies run short, just cancel those long trips you were going to do. Do more phone calls. Walk to the local shops. Running out of petrol will only cause us a problem is if the freight companies can't get their fuel. Because we, the everyday person, has gone and consumed all of the petrol, and now they can't get the food from the port to the supermarket. Now it's a problem. Now they're having to buy it in the world markets, pay premiums, and everything goes up in price. So our response to a crisis shouldn't be panic. It should be calm British reserve. What happened to our calm British reserve? When the going gets tough, Winston Churchill said, the tough roll up their sleeves. It's time we manned up as a nation. Stop panicking. Stop creating a crisis out of this event, guys. Let me know what you think in the chat. Take care.
Britain's participation in the war against Iran is criminal. This is an illegal war for regime change waged against an oppressed country led by the imperialist United States and its Israeli attack dog. And they have put millions of lives at risk. Keir Starmer's statements about his duty to protect British lives are sickening lies. He has left hundreds of thousands of British citizens stranded, with missiles falling every hour, and he has no plan to get them to safety. And this apologist for Israel's genocide of the Palestinians cares even less for the people of Iran now being slaughtered daily, or for the population of the Middle East. Once again, a Labour government, staffed by political criminals, is dragging the country into a US-led war for oil, just as it did with Iraq in 2003 under Starmer's hero, Tony Blair. The outcome of this war could be far worse. Iran is a country of 90 million people sitting at the crossroads of the world economy. It has been targeted by the US in preparation for war against China. Israel has already invaded Lebanon and has resumed its ethnic cleansing in Gaza. American, British and European capitalism see no other way out of the enormous crisis they face economically, socially and politically. Wars of plunder, conquest and destruction are their answer to a growing mountain of debt and their falling world position. That is why the US has launched such a reckless and brutal offensive, why British imperialism supports it, and why it is coupled with such fierce repression at home. The years of the Gaza genocide have been used not only to normalise crimes against humanity, but to pioneer political repression on a scale not seen in generations, which will be used against the working class as it is forced to pay the price of war. The Socialist Equality Party unequivocally opposes the assault on Iran, and we base our opposition on a fight to mobilise the British and international working class against it, not moral appeals to a Labour government which has none, or to the United Nations or trade union leaders. This is how Stop the War Coalition and the likes of Jeremy Corbyn led the mass movement against the Gaza genocide into a dead end. What is needed is a fight for socialist internationalism among workers of all countries who have a shared interest in bringing down the warmongers attacking their jobs, wages, living conditions and democratic rights. Only a movement totally independent of the capitalist parties can put a stop to this barbarism. It must begin now, and it must be led by workers and young people. No one will do it for you. Contact the Socialist Equality Party, join us, and take up the fight of your lives.
Don't ask me to go out, 'cause there's no money in my account. I'm broke, money zero, Sundays and shirts, come on, man.
Look, there's a lot of shit gets talked on social media and it's tedious, okay? I mean, there's a lot of shit gets talked in Parliament and that's tedious too. The reality of the situation that we're in today, whether UK bases were initially used to launch attacks against Iran, is that we are at war. Whether we like it or not, the consequences of what's happened are that we are in a war situation. That has numerous impacts because war isn't just kinetic. War takes many different forms. We all know this. We've known for years. We've known about grey zone warfare. The primary impact of what's happening isn't necessarily drones being fired towards the RAF base in Cyprus. At the moment, the primary impact is twofold. And this means that we've already transitioned to wartime economic conditions. The first thing is to do with energy supplies. The strait that lets those energy supplies out is restricted. 20% of the world's oil comes from there. That has an immediate and direct impact, and you will see prices go up at the pump. The second thing is that Qatar has stopped production of liquefied natural gas. Now, that has an impact on us directly, and it's already led to a 45% increase, a jump in gas prices. So all that news about Ofcom last week, that's dead now. The cost of living is now going to do something it hasn't done for a long time, and that's rapidly go up, and that's the consequences of being in a war situation. The second thing is that we're all now much less safe. The reason that we're much less safe is not because Shahed drones are going to start falling out of the sky in Wiltshire. It's because the international situation is now completely unstable, and we don't yet know how or if China is going to weigh in, or Russia is going to weigh in, or North Korea is going to weigh in, or what the impacts are beyond the Middle East. We don't know how terrorist organisations and terror cells are going to operate, what they're going to do, who they're going to target. And we don't know how populations are going to react. We've had some indication of how populations will react in attacks on US embassies already by civilian populations, resulting in deaths. This is a war. It's going to be a fucking mess. And anyone who tells you we're not at war because
big boys did it and ran away, is living in a fucking dreamland.
Stop paying £1.70 for petrol and diesel. If you're watching UK petrol prices rise because of the US-Iran conflict, you need to see this. While most are queuing at the pumps, there's others getting 250 kilowatt ultra-rapid charging for free. Most drivers in Leeds, Bradford and London are stuck in 90 car queues. But did you know there are chargers across the UK that are totally free? I'm not talking about slow 3.5 kilowatt supermarket plugs. I'm talking about ultra-rapid power that gives you 100 miles of range in 15 minutes for £0. If you're thinking about switching to an EV to escape the fuel hike, here's how you find the fastest free chargers in your area. Step 1. Open Zap Map, filter for CCS connectors. Set your power to 150 kilowatts or higher. Don't waste time on the slow ones. Select free to use. These chargers are the secret to cost-free driving. In 2026, petrol is hitting record highs. Don't get left behind. If you want my master list of UK rapid free zones to see if there's one near you, comment the word fuel below. I'll send it over. Stick around for more helpful tips no one else is sharing.
I think people are panic buying oil. Today we were going to be ordering oil regardless, but it took me the entire day to get through. Normally, I'm through pretty quickly, and when I got through, the girl on the other end of the phone sounded exhausted, and I was like, oh, it sounds like yous are pretty busy, and she was like, yeah, that's an understatement. So yeah, with this war kicking off, and what is it, like a fifth of the world's oil supply is being withheld because of Iranian borders and things. I'm not professing to know too much about this, but what I do know is that it's already having a knock-on effect on us. So yeah, if you use heating oil for your home and you think you might need it, I am not suggesting that everyone goes and panic buys. What I'm suggesting is look into it because, yeah.
That is the crude oil price has shot up today since the war in Iran, and it's affecting the oil prices. Now what they're saying online is it takes a couple of weeks to travel through to us, to our pumps. But this type of increase means that the pumps over the next few weeks are going to start getting crazy high. So the good news with the EV drivers who home charge, we have got security with the energy cap price rise, which is pretty cool. So win for the EVs, and unlucky for the diesel and petrol guys. Yes, the price is going up, and it looks like it might be going up quite a lot. But hopefully it'll all settle down and start coming back down in the next few weeks. A lot of my good mates are taxi drivers and diesels and petrols, and yeah, it's just not something the trade needs. Increased expenses, less income, less profit, isn't it? Hopefully it's all sorted pretty soon, and yeah, give it a like and follow. Let me know in the comments what you think. See you in the next video.
Morning guys, they're saying on the news that oil prices could jump from $73 a barrel to $130 to $140 a barrel in the next couple of weeks if the war with Israel and Iran continues. How does that affect you and me on the everyday level? Well, number one, it causes inflation. Your fuel prices go up, your petrol prices go up, all the carriage costs of anything around the globe that uses trucks, boats or planes goes up, maybe nearly doubles in price. So what do you think is going to happen to the price of your bread and your apples and your milk? It's going to go up again. We saw it when the Russia and Ukraine war started. We saw price inflation, and now we're seeing a slowing of the economy, and we got risk of prices going up. Why is that a problem, Steve, for the housing market? Well, because if inflation goes up, the Bank of England won't drop interest rates. And everybody wants the Bank of England to drop interest rates. We could do with another 0.5 to 0.75% done by Christmas, taken off the current rate. And that would make it affordable for people to get mortgages. It would almost make it cheaper for them to buy than it would be for them to rent, because rental prices have gone up. And so that would stimulate the housing market. But so long as people don't feel like they've got money in their pocket, so long as prices are going up and interest rates stay high, the housing market isn't going to go anywhere fast. It's going to just flatline. Maybe dip a little bit, because if everybody's competing to sell, it's supply and demand. You've got a lot of supply, not much demand, prices dip. And we've already seen a price drop in the market of 5 to 10%, sometimes more in central London. where do we go from here then, guys? Well, in COVID, prices for building went up from about 120 square foot to 200 a square foot. Labour prices were higher. But house prices went up because everybody was trying to buy and get out of London. And for some reason, no one really knows why, the housing market went mental. So everything boomed. It was great time during COVID. But now, material prices are not dropping. We're talking to suppliers and we're saying, surely the price of steel and wood and brick and cement and concrete, surely that's all dropping now, isn't it? They're like, nope, no signs of it dropping. And if it's going to cost more to bring your freight in from different parts of the world because the cost of shipping stuff around the world has gone up, then we're not going to see any price reductions anytime soon. Add to that government policies that say we now need to put, or they're working towards this as we speak, solar panels on every single new home that is being built. That's another £3,000 per house that's built that a developer has to pay. And that's another £3,000 worth of costs that they just can't absorb right now. So here's my thoughts, my summary thoughts on it all. As I really sit back and reflect, it's a buyer's market. You can't take risk, which is too big when the economy is slowing down. You can't punt loads of money. The government has got this target of 1 million houses to build by the end of their governance, let's call it, by the end of their jurisdiction in power. And they've allocated 38 billion, that's 38,000 million towards affordable housing. That's a lot of money, guys. If the average house, say the average flat from 1 to 2, 3 bedroom sort of property costing you 120 to 150,000 to build it, that's excluding land costs, you could build about 200 to 250,000 properties for that, especially if you're doing smaller units. But that's 100% cash funded. Now let's think for a minute, what if I leverage that at 25%? What if I decide that of that 38 billion, only 25% of that's going to be the deposit? I'm going to leverage borrow the other 75%. That means I can build with that money around 1 million affordable homes. There's your target, guys. It's not going to be the private sector that leads us out of this housing market. It's not going to be the private sector that carries the builders and the plumbers and the electricians and keeps them in work and keeps them busy. It's going to be the government funding that sector. And that's the only way it's staying on its feet. It's basically saying we're going back to a council housing programme from post-war where every single house, or majority of houses that are going to be built, even if they're built by national house builders, they're going to be funded by the government. That's yours and my taxes. And then we're going to house people in those, and we're going to have to pay their rent because it's affordable housing. It's for people who maybe aren't working and need support. It will be for a whole range of different types of people. So that's why the housing market's struggling right now. What do I see the future? For the foreseeable, in the immediate future, I see no change. I see house prices easing by 5 to 10%. And builders not necessarily being able to make any profits on schemes if they bought them a couple of years ago. I see no new home buyers coming into the market. Rental prices probably increasing slightly outside of London and dropping slightly in London because there's an exodus of people from London. There's an exodus of investors anyway. And so if a lot of people are trying to get their investments out before the new tax regime comes in for capital gains tax, which goes up again next April, then they'll be trying to sell, and they better get their money out now and put it somewhere.
You pull up to fill the tank and feel like you're financing international diplomacy 1 litre at a time. At this rate, I'm expecting the pump to salute me and play the national anthem. Of course, we're told it's complicated. Global markets, supply chains, tensions abroad. Fair enough. But the funny thing is, when prices go up, they move like a rocket. And when things calm down, they drift back down like a feather. I don't know how people are going to survive the coming months if this keeps up. Cost of living has already carved into most of us. We don't have much to spare. For ordinary drivers, it's becoming ridiculous. Work commute, school run, weekly shop, all suddenly more expensive because of events thousands of miles away. and yet people here are the ones adjusting their lives. Strange arrangement that the world argues and we pay. Mind you, during the war people used to say, make do and mend. These days it's more like make do, mend, and check the petrol price before you start the engine. Because when the cost of moving around starts feeling like a luxury, you know something's gone a bit sideways. Goodbye for now, and I will see you all in the next video. Keep your peckers up.